Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
On this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. 580 Live is presented by Thornhill Automotive and is broadcast live from the Parmar Stores studio. The country, the United States of America. The state, West Virginia. The city, Charleston. This is 580 Live. And your host of 580 Live.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey folks, good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to Charleston's Talk Show 580 Live at the Voice of Charleston, WCHS, from the Parmar Stores studio, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Parmar Store studio. There's not a Parmar store near you now. There will be soon, including their newest location, Bell Valley, Ohio. That's just off I-77, about 30 miles north of Marietta. So if you happen to be in that area, stop by. Remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon. And 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota, where the celebration continues. Come check out the sleek Camry, the versatile RAV4, or the all-new Tacoma. You can drive away with a smile on your face and money in your pocket with Thornhill. Click or come by Thornhill Toyota, WV.com, or on US 119 in Chapmanville. Coming up a little bit later on the show, an announcement made a couple of days ago that the former House of Delegates member and assistant to the governor, he's still the assistant to the governor, Larry Packer, is going to be running for state treasurer. And he's made that announcement a couple of days ago on Talk Line with Dave Wilson, who's in for Hoppy. I get the visit from Mr. Pack today. He's going to be joining us a little bit later on in the show. Also, our friend Tim Brady from the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau will stop by. A lot of folks are heading into Charleston over the next week or so for a big event that's going, actually a couple big events going on, but one in particular that's bringing people, it's volleyball, and it's bringing people literally from all over the country for this thing. Tim's going to break that down for us, but I want to welcome into the show now current West Virginia Secretary of State and candidate for Governor Mac Warner. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm wonderful. Great to be with you.
Thank you for being here. I want to talk Secretary of State business before we get into your campaign for governor. Now, you're at the Greenbrier, I understand, now preparing for the annual business summit sponsored by the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce. What are you expecting to learn down there, or what are you taking part in?
Well, first of all, right now I'm not at the Greenbrier.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm staying in Lewisburg. But yes, the summit is starting today at the Greenbrier.
Yes. My fault.
Well, that's all right. And I just wanted to let you know that this is the first time that, this is where business leaders from all over the state, I think there are 1,200.
1,200, yeah.
They were talking about some new records, perhaps, in attendance. That's showing the growth of the economy here in West Virginia. I think it's a very healthy thing, and this is just an indication of the growth of the economy here in West Virginia. I can tell you from my job in the Secretary of State's perspective, where we keep track of the businesses around the state, we've gone from 130,000 jobs when I first came in to over 143,000 jobs now, or businesses I keep track of in the Secretary of State's office. So, yes, we are showing some improvement in the economy. Hopefully that shows in the number of jobs that people have around the state. And this is a chance for these business leaders to get together, hear the latest. I know we've got some great speakers online from the senatorial. We've got Senate Manchin and Capito speaking today. We've got the health care. There are people from WVU and around the state talking about issues in that related. We're all concerned about higher education, what's happening at WVU. There's a lot of things to unpack here at the conference, and I think it's going to be a mixture of good news as well as how do we face these challenges that are coming at West Virginia on a continuing basis.
Again, we're talking with Secretary of State Mac Warner, and also candidate for governor. I've had you on the show in the past, and I know a little bit about the office as well. One of the things about the Secretary of State's office that I think a lot of people don't realize is you said when you think Secretary of State, you automatically think of voting and things of that nature, and that's certainly a big part of it. But as you've often said on the show, there's actually more people in the business division than what there are in the other divisions of the office. And a part of that is not only what goes on at the Capitol, but of course you got the Business One-Stop Center here in Charleston. You've got offices in Martinsburg, and there's going to be a new office in Clarksburg. The office in Clarksburg, which was already there, is on the move, I understand. Talk about that.
It is on Friday. We're having basically a celebration or a grand opening, and that we've moved down the street from the previous location. It's now in the newer federal building, and this is just a reflection of, again, back to the growth in West Virginia and the responsiveness. Here we are having government basically be like anybody would treat their business. If you have a reason to expand, you do so, and the customers are better served. What we've done in the Secretary of State's office is we have leveraged technology that makes it easier to start a business, easier to grow your business, easier to access things such as the Small Business Administration, which can help businesses either get started, grow their business through business plans, or if you're already an existing business, maybe perhaps go out there and find some of the federal funds that are available. That many times these business owners are so busy with their nose in the books and getting products to market and keeping the supply chains up, they're not looking out. They don't have that time or the resources to look out. And so that's what, say, a Small Business Administration can do for you, is to say, hey, you want to grow your business, here are resources to do so. So in our remote locations in Martinsburg, you know how the Eastern Panhandle is exploded, is growing. We're doing the same thing in the Clarksburg, Bridgeport area. Bridgeport is just continuing to go like crazy. And so we are making government responsive to those needs. We're leveraging technology that makes people, their access to these resources online much easier. And by way of example, we've just recently started Solo. That's the single online location that allows somebody to start their business at home and then get the answers that they need from, I'll get technical here for a second, a geo-fenced resource. That is, we know that the answers in the Secretary of State's office, from the experience that our employees have, the West Virginia State Code, the information technology, we geofence that so that when you ask this Solo a question, it gives you a consistent answer every time. Whereas if you were calling into the office, one time you might get an employee who's been there for 20 years and has vast amounts of experience. Another time you might get an employee who's only been hired recently. And so you see that disparate knowledge base that they might have. But when you use the business wizard and the technology that we have, you're getting consistent answers. They are the right answers, the most detailed answers. And that's why people are very happy with the response they're getting from the Secretary of State's office. Still, if they want to talk to a person, they can call and they get a friendly voice that wants to help them with their situation. And I just couldn't be happier with the progress that the Secretary of State's office has made.
And September is National Voter Registration Month across the country, and I know that your team will be out in the places like public schools and other public venues registering people to vote.
We will be, and we're coming upon a major milestone. Since I've been in office, one, we've cleaned up the voter registration lists and taken off over 400,000 names. At the same time, we've registered 330,000 new live people that are interested in voting. And of those 330,000, this week we anticipate hitting the 100,000th high school student that we will register. So at the end of this week, I plan to be in Charleston and hopefully go to Capo High School and register the 100,000th high school students since I've been in office. And why that's so important is because as we talk about growing the economy and growing the population in West Virginia, we certainly want to keep the people here who we have educated. Our most valuable resources are people. We don't want to export them to Charlotte or some other city outside the state. We want to keep them here. And so getting them involved in the political process is one of the ways where, one, they feel engaged. They are engaged. They're more civically inclined. We might even get them to run for office. We have a wonderful group of young people in the House of Delegates in the West Virginia Senate. And so all of those are win-win scenarios, and that's why I've put such emphasis on getting young people registered to vote here in the state.
Talking again with Secretary of State candidate and gubernatorial candidate, or Secretary of State, whole office holder, I should say, Mac Warner, and gubernatorial candidate Mac Warner. You just picked up a big endorsement for your gubernatorial campaign, sir, from the National Defense Political Action Committee. Talk about that.
Yes, that was a real heartwarming thing. Of course, it's not necessarily a surprise. I am the only veteran in the race for governor, and this PAC recognizes that we need people with that battle-tested experience in state government, because the military doesn't tell you what to think. They teach you how to think, to address the next issue. As you can see, that we're dealing with cyber issues and cyber attacks and drone attacks and all these sorts of things that weren't even around, say, 10 years ago. So you always have to have a forward-looking perspective in the defense industry. And so for a defense PAC to recognize, reach down from a national level and say, we want this person in as the governor, that is real heartwarming for me to get that endorsement at this time.
And Mac, before we let you go, I had Attorney General and gubernatorial candidate Patrick Morrissey on the show last week, and anytime he's on the show or in public forums, Mr. Morrissey makes comments by saying he's the only true conservative in this field for governor. And I would think that would probably come as news to someone like you, or even some of the others, like Chris Miller, Moore Capito. Your thoughts on that statement from Mr. Morrissey?
Well, it is misleading and obviously incorrect. So I would simply ask people to take that with a grain of salt and look at the facts. There's nobody that is more conservative in the state of West Virginia than Mac Warner. And a conservative means that you want to retain the things that have proven true over the test of time. And so I start back at the beginning. The first words of the Bible, in the beginning, God. When you get things straight from a biblical perspective, that's objective truth. It doesn't change over time. And that's what a conservative is versus a progressive who thinks that man is the solution to the problems. And so that man is basically good, and that we can increase government, the rule of man, we can improve things. And that's not my perspective as a conservative. So I would be glad to debate Patrick Morrissey or anybody else at any time and to address this issue so that the people of West Virginia have a true vision as to who is running for governor, and is telling them the truth day in and day out, and not misleading through slogans and mottos.
Well, as part of the business summit, I think there is going to be, if I'm correct on this, sir, there's going to be kind of not really a debate, but I think it's going to be more of a discussion or a forum with some of the gubernatorial candidates. Are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely. This is a great time to showcase the personalities, the experiences. Who better to run this state than somebody like me who's been battle-tested, literally. I'm the only veteran in this race with that experience. Constitutional, I'm a lawyer. I understand following the rule of law. You see that in my decisions as Secretary of State, where we don't arbitrarily change things such as using drop boxes or automatic voter registration or same-day registration and voting, all those sorts of things that other states have tried and have gotten them into trouble. We haven't done that here in West Virginia. I have followed the laws put out by the legislature, and that's why West Virginia has been recognized nationally as a leader in election security and integrity. Voter confidence in elections has skyrocketed during my tenure, and people get election results on election night. So those are the type of things that I have done, and if you like what I've done as Secretary of State, think what I can do as I go across state government, streamlining and making state government more efficient, and doing for the whole state what I've done in the Secretary of State's job. Secretary of State and candidate for Governor Mac Warner, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. We'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Dave. Always good being with you. 921, 580 Live, presented in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month, get yourself a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an order of cheese sticks, only $21.99 for locations. To place an order or for delivery, visit Hudson'sPizza.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. Got some texts to get to. We'll get to those after the break. Plus, Tim Brady from the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau will be making an appearance as well. It's 580 Live, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Get ready for the ultimate summer savings at the new Thornhill Toyota Celebration. Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to the Thornhill Motor Mile to take advantage of our red, white, and vroom savings. Upgrade your ride with unbeatable deals on our top models, from the sleek Camry to the versatile RAV4 or the all-new Tacoma. We have the perfect car for your summer adventures. You can drive away with a smile on your face and money in your pocket. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com or US 119 in Chapmanville for the summer celebration. See Thornhill for full details.
It's obvious. We're being let down by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media are distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the real concerns of American families. Countries we're at odds with are hoarding food, financial systems are strained, and supply chains remain too fragile. We can tell something is coming, so we're preparing. Folks are getting into self-reliance and investing in emergency food storage. And My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, makes it easy for you to have peace of mind knowing you're prepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure some emergency food kits. There's a dozen to choose from that contain tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. And while you're there, stock up on water filtration, heirloom seeds, and emergency gear, too, at MyPatriotSupply.com. It's time to prepare today. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Your child's future begins with West Virginia Virtual Home Academy. Your family can enjoy free and effective K-12 education from the comfort of your home. Our robust curriculum is delivered to your children by our certified teachers using state-of-the-art tools. School is starting soon. Join us now at West Virginia Virtual Home Academy. Free and effective virtual K-12 education for all West Virginians. For more information, visit our website at www.wvvha.com.
924, 580 Live, brought to you by QC Kinetics. If you're tired of dealing with pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, or your back, get relief without surgery, drugs, or downtime. Call QC Kinetics, Huntington and Cross Lanes for a free consultation. 304-202-5566, 304-202-5566 for QC Kinetics of Cross Lanes. Let me knock out a couple of texts here. Text says, Mac hit the nail on the head. Since Biden became president, the state of West Virginia is starting to see jobs come here thanks to the American Rescue Act, Infrastructure Acts, etc. Mac was a leader of Stop the Steal, disqualified him to run. How long? Text says, how long until Stop the Steal Warner gets endorsed by Nick Fuentes? Warner's alt-right Nazi. It's for real. Let me see. Texas, West Virginia's unemployment rate is the lowest in decades, coinciding with the lowest U.S. rate in 50 years. If you think this is because of West Virginia Republicans, you're fooling yourself. Anyway, here's my challenge to Republicans. Explain how Republican policies in West Virginia caused the national unemployment rate to be the best in decades. Dark Brandon rises, according to a texture. Heartwarming? Question mark. Does Mac Warner care more about the defense industry's super PAC endorsements or representing the people of West Virginia? No big government, just big military industrial complex. Stop the steal. Indeed. Text says, religion's made up by man. There's no evidence God is real. I wish politicians would stop forcing their made-up religion on people through government. Forcing religious values via government isn't how this country was intended to operate. And, okay, enough of that, and then we'll get back to those a little bit later on. Tim Brady, never controversial, anything he says.
Try not to be.
How are you, man?
I'm great, man.
I think I planted a seed with you, okay? I had you on the show last week, and we were reliving your radio career, radio career. Now, listen, a week later, you're back again. You want back in.
I'm like... just itching to not get up at 4:30 in the morning. And
you want the fun aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to come in here and talk to you for about 15 minutes, have a good time, a few laughs, and then say hi to Chris Lawrence on my way out and hit the door.
Head out the door.
And then it's like, every time I walk out of this building, I'm like, it's like Shawshank Redemption, right? And I'm like tearing my shirt off, looking up at the sky, sweet freedom, right?
You loved it. Come on,
I did. No, I had a great
life.
At that point in my life. I had a great time. Radio was a blast.
Yeah, it is.
It is absolutely. It's a ton of fun.
And
I'm standing out there talking to Chris, and we're telling stories about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's fun.
The smell of deer urine emanating from his studio.
Listen, I couldn't do what he does.
Chris is the man.
Yeah,
he's the man.
He's a great guy.
All right. So, of course, Tim Brady from the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau. We got a whole lot of people coming to the area in the Kanawha Valley for a huge event. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so starting next week, September 5th through September 10th, the Charleston Coliseum will be hosting the NORCECA Men's Continental Championship. And you don't need to worry about what NORCECA stands for. It's North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. But what you need to know is it's the men's USA volleyball team against 6 other volleyball teams from around the world, or around this part of the country, rather, North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. It's the USA, Cuba, Canada, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Suriname. All here for 5 days playing high-level, Olympic-level volleyball in the Charleston Coliseum. And it's the last time that the men's USA volleyball team will play in the United States before the Paris Olympics.
Now, how exactly did we go about getting this to Charleston, West Virginia? What's the plan? I mean, how did this happen?
You know, you just meet
get lucky sometimes too. Luck and hard work.
I would like to say that it was my charm and charisma, but you know, in the competitive sports business, the travel sports business, it's just a lot of networking. It's meeting people. It's going to trade shows. It's going to conventions, and it's talking to people and telling them about your facilities. And we were lucky enough a few weeks ago to host USA Table Tennis for some Pan American Games. We had youth table tennis players from 21 countries. Through USA Table Tennis, I got to meet the CEO of USA Volleyball. They were looking for a place to host this event. He knew about the Coliseum. He had talked to the CEO of USA Table Tennis. It's all relationship business. So once he came to Charleston, saw the city, saw the facility, met the mayor, met some of the folks in the city, they were sold and they were excited to come here, and we'll be hosting them beginning September 5th.
So how many people are we talking? I mean, it's not just because obviously it's just like with any sports team, it's not just the players. Right. I mean, there's support staff, there's coaches. Yeah. How many people are we talking per team, rough ballpark figure?
So ballpark figure, about 30 people per team. So you're talking about 200 and some athletes and staff, but you've also got the staff of USA Volleyball. But for us, the big draw is the ticket sales. West Virginia and Charleston sit in, so USA Volleyball as an entity, as an organization that promotes volleyball, amateur volleyball throughout the country, is broken up into regions. And we sit in, from a participation standpoint, their largest region, which is the Ohio Valley region. So we're going to get people, we've already sold tickets to people from Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Indiana. They're all coming here because they want to see the USA men's team play competitively in Charleston.
And when those people come, as we always talk about, Tim, they're not just going to come in and watch the volleyball match and leave. They're going to eat. They're going to stay at hotels.
Right. That's right. They don't park at the Coliseum, go watch a volleyball match, get in their car, and drive back to Grand Rapids. Right? No, they're going to stay in the hotels. They're going to go down to Capitol Street and Summer Street and on Courier and Virginia and shop and eat and walk around. And you know, we've got an event scheduled for the 6th on Wednesday, or is that Wednesday? The 6th in City Center at Slack Plaza. We've got a Latin music band and food trucks, and Brian Cooper from Arts Amplified is helping us create this event for the players, but also for the community. So if you're a fan of volleyball, or you just like music and food and a good time, come out to Slack Plaza on the 6th from 6 to 9, because the teams will be down there. It'll be a fun atmosphere and a great time.
And I know, as we talked about with Regatta, I had you on the show last week talking about the economic impact of Regatta. You try to forecast some of these things, but it's kind of difficult to do. Sure. But is there a place, what are you looking at right now as far as economic impact? I don't necessarily mean a number, but this is going to be a big shot in the arm toward the end of summer for the entire Kanawha Valley, because all these people are not going to stay in downtown Charleston.
That's right.
They're going to be spread out everywhere.
That's right. And we always say internally, tourists don't care about municipal boundaries. What's good for Charleston is good for South Charleston, is good for Putnam County, is good for Barbersville, is good for, there's a halo effect, right? You throw the pebble in the pond and the concentric circles just sort of spread, and it's good for everyone. Here's what I do know. I do know that the Charleston Marriott Town Center is their host hotel, and it's going to be booked out. So the first thing that's going to happen is anybody that's coming to town that would ordinarily want to stay there is going to stay somewhere else. So it's compression. It's pushing that hotel business out into the other properties. So even though maybe the volleyball teams aren't staying at Hotel B, people will stay there. So we're filling hotel rooms, and that's a good thing. We're also sending people out to eat and shop and have some entertainment while they're in town. And the money that they spend has a multiplying effect throughout the community as well.
As someone who doesn't know, Tim, a lot about volleyball, I mean, is this like a tournament type thing? Do they play more than one game? How does it work out? What's the format?
So it's pool play. There'll actually be, over the course of the 5 days, 15 games. There's 3 matches a day. So it's pool play for the first few days, and then you get into elimination rounds. But every team will play every other team at some point. And I will tell you that the match that everyone points to that you have to see is the USA versus Cuba. Apparently they are the 2 best teams in this tournament, both certainly contenders for medals at the Paris Olympics. So you want if you want an opportunity to watch good volleyball, you're going to want to see the USA and Cuba. And I can tell you, Dave, that match will take place at 7:30 on September 7th.
Okay.
So at 7:30 on the 7th, USA versus Cuba. But the matches actually start on the 5th, and 3 matches a day, 3, 5, and 7:30 every day, Saturday through the 10th, or the 5th through the 10th, rather.
And Tim, I would think that because volleyball is a huge sport in the public schools here, well, I guess private schools too, I would imagine that you're going to see a lot of those student athletes come in and want to watch the teams from the various high schools to come in, because it's not every day that they're going to get to see something like this.
Yeah, we actually set up some discounted tickets for teams and clubs in the area. We want the middle school and high school kids and the club volleyball players from around the Kanawha Valley and beyond to come in, and we've actually offered it up to programs throughout the state. There's a team discount to come in and watch as a team and participate. We've also got a pretty robust group of volunteers from the local volleyball programs to help us with some of the things during the tournament. So we've tried as hard as we could to engage the middle and high school volleyball players in the state of West Virginia, specifically in the Metro Valley, to come out and be a part of this and see it firsthand.
And I know this is first and foremost right now. This is on the front burner. But any other big events coming up in the area that you want to mention just briefly?
Yeah, the other one that I'll mention right now, and hopefully you'll be gracious enough to let me come back and talk about this at a later date. But the first weekend in December, we're hosting an international strongman competition. And anybody that lived in Charleston back in the day when we hosted World's Strongest Man, and there was the great photos of guys pulling fire trucks in front of the Capitol. This is an offshoot of that, but it's actually a strong man and strong woman competition that's broken down by weight class. So you have 7 different weight classes of men and 7 different weight classes of women competing to be the strongest man or woman in the world in their particular weight class. That's going to be inside the Coliseum as well. It's going to be a ton of fun. And that is the first weekend in December. Okay. So we're looking forward to that when we get through volleyball.
Yeah, but this volleyball thing is a major deal.
Huge deal. And again, I can't stress enough, last time to see the USA men's team play before the Olympics.
Yeah. And sometimes I know that you read things online, you see these things that sometimes there's always negativity out there where people say, well, how's this going to help Charleston? Now, somebody referred to the table tennis thing as ping pong and so on and so forth, and kind of downplaying the whole thing. This is major bucks, and as the true capitalist that I am, that's what I look at. I look at the money, and I look at the cash that's going to be coming in, and I would be interested to have you on after this volleyball thing, much like we did with regatta. So, and maybe not to that extent, but you should be able to have some sort of ballpark. This is how much money that this brought in, and not only for the hotels, but for the restaurants and the other businesses in the area.
Absolutely. Love to come back and talk about that, because that's why we do what we do. We're trying to raise the image of Charleston, but we're also trying to bring in economic impact, economic growth. And before you cut me loose, Dave, I do want to say I will offer to your listeners today a special discount code. If you go to the Charleston Coliseum website to purchase tickets and use the code SPIKE23.
SPIKE23, Ryan.
SPIKE23.
Okay.
There's a discount for your listeners this morning for tickets to see the USA men's volleyball team in action September 5th through 10th at the Charleston Coliseum.
Membership has its privileges
It
if you're
does.
a part of Dave Nation. So
is that what we're calling this now, Dave Nation?
Yeah, Dave
Okay.
Nation. Yeah, but so
which is different than Damnation.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, they're basically the same. All right, eternal. But all right, so you go to the Coliseum Convention Center website, and they'll ask you for a prompt, and it's what was it again? Spike
23.
Spike 23.
Spike 23.
Ryan, you're probably going to get some calls about that, so make sure you commit that to memory. Spike 23, and you get discounts just for being a listener to this show.
Just for being a loyal listener to Dave Nation.
Part of Dave Nation. All right. Jim, it's always a pleasure,
Pleasure,
man.
brother.
Where can people learn more? Because I know you guys just kill it on the social media, but is that the best place to, if you want to schedules or events or things of that nature?
Just go to our website, charlestonwv.com. Couldn't be easier.
All right, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. It's Tim Brady from the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau. 580 Live brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, Charleston Dirty Birds. They are continuing their series on the road. They're back at home, though, at Go-Mart Ballpark this Friday night to take on Staten Island. For tickets, Dirty Birds gear, schedules, promotions, and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Going to take a break. When we come back, we have got Larry Pack with us, former delegate, assistant to the governor, and now candidate for state treasurer. He is up next from the Parmar Store Studio. 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Elevators. You take them for granted until they let you down. If you're working to maintain a stellar reputation, then let me introduce you to DC Elevator. We want to work with you to make sure your people get where they are going. What could be better than a new company coming to the area and already having 45 years of experience? DC Elevator is bringing a new culture of elevator maintenance, repairs, modernization, and installation to West Virginia. Don't leave your people hanging. For a free consultation, call DC Elevator at 304-345-7222.
Get ready for the ultimate summer savings at the new Thornhill Toyota Celebration. Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to the Thornhill Motor Mile to take advantage of our red, white, and vroom savings. Upgrade your ride with unbeatable deals on our top models, from the sleek Camry to the versatile RAV4 or the all-new Tacoma. We have the perfect car for your summer adventures. You can drive away with a smile on your face and money in your pocket. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com or US 119 in Chapmanville for the summer celebration. See Thornhill for full details.
People sometimes may wonder why they need a big law firm after their injury. Imagine you're on your way to work and then bam, your whole life changes. Life can be shattered in a moment. When that happens, know that America's largest injury law firm is here for you. When it comes to law, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia.
Be happy and call Pappy. Be happy, call Pappy for heating and cooling. Done right, on time, great service, and at the right price. The name you know, the name you trust. When air quality counts, you can count on us. For new installation or repair, commercial, residential, we'll be there. 304-949-HELP, an ACI Solutions Company. Be happy, call Pappy.
Program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by. From farm to table, Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, the best kept secret in Charleston. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. Former delegate, special assistant to the governor, now candidate for state treasurer, Larry Pack is with us this morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much for bringing me on.
Thank you for being here. Big announcement from you a couple days ago. We'll get to that in a couple of moments. But you wanted to say something about to the people that were impacted by this flooding a couple days ago.
Yeah, my heart's really heavy today. My family's heart. We grew up in the eastern end of Kanawha Valley. We got really devastated by the floods a couple of days ago. We still have a lot of family, particularly in the Winifred area. That's where my wife grew up. So please keep folks in your prayers, and also reach out to organizations like the Union Mission, who are really doing good work to help those folks. So many people have lost their homes, lost their vehicles, lost really everything. And even the ones that haven't, they've lost, their basements and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's just a lot of devastation up there, and those folks should really use your help.
I mean, it's just incredible. If you go to our website, wvmetronews.com, Carrie Hudasek spent the day there yesterday. Jeff posted some videos from up there on Monday just talking to those people. And Larry, I mean, these people, and you're from that area, and your wife is from that area, they just haven't seen anything like that. And it's just one of those weird phenomenons that the weather folks, people a lot smarter when it comes to this stuff than what you and I are, said it's just one of those things. It just basically parked over the area.
And you put that much rain over such a small area, the water just really has nowhere to go. And one of the things happened here, and we've seen it before, is the water was not only coming down the creek, it was coming off the mountains.
Yeah.
And so there was just nowhere to hide if you happened to be in that area. But it's something that, the folks in the East Bank area and the coalfields of Kanawha County, we've lived with all our lives. We've seen it in different areas. It just really hasn't happened in this area before. But mostly the folks that really got hurt, the folks can least afford it. So let's all please join together and try to help them.
Absolutely. Larry, you made the announcement official a couple of days ago. You're going to be a candidate for treasurer of the great state of West Virginia. Why the run for treasurer?
Well, my wife and I, we've been thinking about it, praying about it really for some time, well over a year, as to where and how I could continue to serve West Virginians. And treasurer just is a really nice fit for us. I practiced as a CPA for over 20 years after graduating from West Virginia Tech. And again, growing up in Eastern Indiana Valley, so I've represented hundreds, if not thousands, of West Virginia small businesses. Then went into business myself, and grew to a very large business through the blessings of the Lord. We sold a couple years ago and definitely have the time to do it. But finance is something that I've always been drawn to. I grew up with it. My family was all in small businesses, and so it's just something that really interests me. And I think being able to protect and safeguard the taxpayers' money is something that really gets me excited.
What are some of the things that you want to implement or continue or whatever if you are elected treasurer, Larry?
I would say I would lead off with saying that I think Treasurer Riley Moore has done a phenomenal job bringing his conservative principles and his goals to that office, and I would want to absolutely continue those. I think his work on ESG, on things, which is very, very simple. It's basically saying that we're going to invest our money and we're going to use our investments in ways that are consistent with our values, that we're not going to let people in multinational corporations implement their own agenda that goes against our values or against our economy. So we're going to make sure that our investments are consistent with our values. I think that's number one. I think the other thing is the taxpayers deserve a treasurer who will safeguard their assets, a treasurer who understands how hard that our citizens work to raise their families and to pay their taxes. And so just making sure that we don't waste any money, that government doesn't grow. Our taxpayers can't afford any more government. Bidenomics has absolutely crushed the pocketbooks of the state taxpayer. And so the state itself needs to tighten its belt because, again, our citizens cannot, they just can't take any more burden. I'm very blessed to be a part of the team that worked on Governor Justice's tax plan last year, and through his leadership, we passed the greatest tax cut in history. And I'll use my office to advocate for more tax cuts for West Virginians. I think finally, the third key area is that I'm a strong believer in school choice, and I believe we need to continue to give parents the opportunity to pick the best learning situation for their children. So we'll work to continue to expand school choice and also get ready for the huge increase of Hope Scholarship that we'll see in 2026.
What are some of the other duties? I mean, this may sound like an obvious question, but you don't know what you don't know. What are some of the other duties that are assigned under state code to the state treasurer's office?
Our government is so big.
It's not just you're managing the checkbook. There's a whole lot more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it. So we oversee the short-term investments. But for every dollar that the treasurer's office can earn in investment income is one less dollar in tax dollars that we have. Again, we implement the Hope Scholarship. That's a really big program and is going without a doubt. So we've got a lot of the college savings plans. We execute and implement those. So it's a lot of stuff. We keep track of the state's debt. So there's some mundane things and there's some really, really interesting things, but it's really what people would think a treasurer's office would be. Is our job is to safeguard the assets of the state to make sure that everything's been done with the utmost integrity.
And now that the announcement has been made, the campaign gets underway, and it's something that you have some familiarity with. As you said, you're a former member of the House of Delegates, but this is not just in a specific district. You will be running statewide, so you're going to be here in Charleston, but you're also going to be in Wheeling and Martinsburg and McDowell County and all these other places. West Virginia is somewhat of a diverse state, and you'll be out there. But in your business life, you said, I heard you on with Dave Wilson the other day, you said you're used to traveling West Virginia because you did it when you were in business.
I've done it for 20 years, and one of the there's a lot of exciting parts or fun parts about my job, but one of them was being able to crisscross West Virginia, to see all parts of West Virginia, to understand how the economies are different, really even cultures are different. So I'll be saying hello to a lot of old friends and meeting a lot of new friends. So we're very excited about that. I travel a little bit anyway with my job with the governor, and also as being a national committeeman for the West Virginia State Party. So again, I'm looking forward to that, and we want to make sure that we get out there and meet as many people as we can. We will run a very, very vigorous campaign.
And will you be taking part in, if they happen, will you be taking part in debates or things? Because I know there is I saw at least one other candidate I think that is running for state treasurer. What makes you more qualified than other folks? Anybody?
I think it's my background. I again, former CPA for 20 plus years, businessman who concentrated on the finance area. I've been in state government through the House of Delegates. I've worked for the governor for almost 2 years now. When I was a kid, I was a treasurer recorder, City of Marquette, so I understand what it looks like from the municipal part. But government's something I've always followed. And I think my experience will match up with anybody in the race. I expect to be a number of candidates. We are the majority party in the state of West Virginia. There are a lot of people that want to serve and want to make West Virginia a better state. So we expect to have a competitive race, and we'll work really hard.
As somebody, this is kind of off topic a little bit, Larry, before we let you go, but as somebody that's been around a while, I mean, would you have dreamed that maybe 20 years ago that you'd have had this much interest in people running for governor on the Republican ticket, or running for Secretary of State or Attorney General? I mean, that you have this many people on the Republican. I mean, I'm from Southern West Virginia. It was always that way with the Democrats in Southern West Virginia. Now we're seeing that shift. Does that surprise even you?
Oh, it's really stunning. I've been involved in politics Republican politics most of my adult life, but I remember in the 90s when we put forth it with Chairman Warner, Chris Warner at that time, we were going to fill the ballot, and I kid him all the time. We had two criteria to fill the Republican ballot. You had to be a Republican, you had to be breathing.
Yes, you had to have a pulse.
Yeah, you had to have a pulse. But yeah, it's just phenomenal. But the Republican Party has become the working person's party, and it really fits well with West Virginia. And Washington D.C. is just so out of control. A lot of their policies and the things, their values, we don't understand those in West Virginia. We don't recognize those in West Virginia. So it makes sense that we're going to rebel against that. We're going to do everything we can to fight for West Virginia values.
Leave us with your mission statement. Why should people vote for Larry Pack?
Vote for Larry Pack to protect your dollars, to make sure that someone in the State House is looking and is looking at every dollar spent and understands again how hard you work for your dollars, how hard it is for you to raise your family, and to make sure that we don't put any additional burden on you.
Do you have a website or any of that stuff up and running now?
At LarryPackForWestVirginia.com.
Okay, there you go. And I think you got some social media stuff out there. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Larry, best of luck with the campaign. Best of luck with all the travel around the state of West Virginia. And we'll have you on in the future again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Larry Pack again, candidate now for State Treasurer of West Virginia. 580 Live is brought to you in part by Generations Physical Therapy. 7 convenient locations along I-64, and they're hiring for both licensed and technically trained staff. For more information, visit generationspt.com. We're back after this from the Par-Mar Store Studio. 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
At Pew Furniture Warehouse Showrooms, we are unloading truck after truck. Shipments of lift chairs, baby furniture, and I mean loads of baby furniture. Amish-made bedrooms and dining rooms. When buying Amish furniture, you can have it just the way you want. Our made in West Virginia Almost Heaven mattresses. Don't forget these mattresses are flippable. We also carry a good selection of power bases and hybrid mattresses. Check out our selection of sofas, reclining furniture, and sleeper sofas, made here in the USA. We are offering an additional 10% off store-wide on the tagged price, excluding clearance items. Clearance area changes weekly. Buy it today and have it in your home tomorrow. We offer 12 months same as cash to qualified buyers. Pew Furniture Warehouse Showrooms, 1320 Smith Street, Charleston. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5:30, Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday closed.
Get ready for the ultimate summer savings at the new Thornhill Toyota Celebration. Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to the Thornhill Motor Mile to take advantage of our red, white, and vroom savings. Upgrade your ride with unbeatable deals on our top models, from the sleek Camry to the versatile RAV4 or the all-new Tacoma. We have the perfect car for your summer adventures. You can drive away with a smile on your face and money in your pocket. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com or US 119 in Chapmanville for the summer celebration. See Thornhill for full details.
At Dutch Miller Jeep of South Charleston, we're proud to announce that during the entire month of August, portions of every vehicle sold will go to Wishes on Wheels, which benefits Hoops Family Children's and WVU Medicine Children's Hospitals. And for a limited time, during the Make This the Summer event, get 10% off MSRP on any brand new Jeep Compass in stock. Text or chat now at DutchMillerJeep.com and join Dutch Miller Jeep of South Charleston in helping local children and their families. On approved credit, not all will qualify. See dealer for details.
9:52, it's 8 minutes away from 10. Be sure to join your favorite WVRC media stations for WVU Medicine Children's Hospital's Cares for Kids Radiothon, September the 7th and the 8th. It's presented by Stike Wealth Enhancement. We're going to be raising funds to support the kids who are helped by WVU Medicine Children's Hospital right here in our community. It's September the 7th and the 8th, and let's make a difference together. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Loaded up show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Retrofest, which is happening this Saturday in Charleston. My good friend JK the DJ, that's kind of his baby, and he's going to stop by. He was actually on the show last week as my Friday co-host, but he's going to be on the show to talk about Retrofest. It's happening in downtown Charleston this weekend. Plus, there is a scholarship being put in place to honor a student who was killed tragically in a car crash last year at Herbert Hoover High School. That student, I think, was a freshman at Herbert Hoover High School, and the folks behind that are going to join us tomorrow. Plus, Kanawha County Commissioner Lance Wheeler will be on the show tomorrow, and Brad Ritchie from Summit Bank. There's some changes going on in the world of banking in West Virginia. Brad is going to join us to talk about that. 580 Live is brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. You know, we spend 90% of our time indoors, and our health risk for air pollution can be actually greater indoors than outdoors. Pinnacle Consultants, the only accredited commercial lab in West Virginia for asbestos and mold. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. All right, I got a bunch of texts to get to, so I'm going to try my best to get to all these and some of the interviews we've had this morning. This one going back to the Mac Warner interview. Texter says, does Mac really believe the FBI and CIA are actual domestic enemies like he said they were in his speech in Las Vegas? Question needs to be asked, according to a texter. Texter says, if Pat gets elected, what office will he leave for next? Seems it's a pattern for Republicans to get elected, then leave for another position. Text says, Larry Pack and Republicans complain about ESG, but are more than willing to let out-of-state oil and coal investors to take all the wealth generated from mineral extraction out of the state. That is part of their West Virginia values. Text says, Dave, to the texter denying our creator, congratulations, you make your father proud. We need to get a couple of greyhounds rounded up and give the couple of indoctrinated, God-denying liberals left in our state a one-way ticket to Portland, Oregon, says a texter. Text says, we cannot invest taxpayers' money based on beliefs, religion, and feelings. People have retirements. It's being invested, according to texter. Lots of business folks, as I mentioned earlier in the interview with Mac Warner, are at the Greenbrier for the Business Summit. It starts today. Over 1,200 people are expected there. It's the 87th year for this Business Summit. Jeff Jenkins' story posted about it at WVMetroNews.com, including comments from the Chamber of Commerce President Steve Roberts. The governor is expected, I understand, to have another economic announcement at some point during the Business Summit. I want to invite you to join our sister station V100 this and every Wednesday night at the Red Carpet Lounge in Charleston for Working Women's Wednesday. We start about 5 o'clock after work this afternoon. Lots of great food and drink specials, prizes, and more. V100, and of course, Jenny Murray, too. That's worth the price of admission, which is nothing, by the way. His V100 presents Working Women's Wednesday today and every Wednesday at 5 o'clock at the Red Carpet Lounge. Okay, I read that one. Text says, rule of law, ? Stop the Steele Warner blamed the U.S. Supreme Court for January 6th violence because the court didn't give him the result he wanted. He refused to accept the ruling of 63 courts of the election. This is Trump they're talking about. He wanted to disenfranchise lawful voters in other states. He wants state courts to have no authority to review election laws. Text says, Larry Pack does math, huh? The Republicans aren't the majority party. 39% of registered voters in West Virginia are Republican. How is less than 50% a majority? I think what he was referring to is those that are in office. I think that's what he means. And absolutely no sign that that's going to change in West Virginia. And I get a text, and I got it the other day, and I apologize for not reading it. I get a text from time to time from someone, and I appreciate all the texters, whether I agree with them or not. But I got a texter who texts frequently and said that they think, and I can't pull it up right now. I apologize, I didn't read it the other day, but they basically say that they think that West Virginia women are really going to turn out in this election, and maybe folks are a little bit more progressive because they are upset at some of the things that happen. It's not going to matter. I mean, God bless them. I believe everybody should vote. Only once, though. I think everybody should vote, and I want all voices to be heard. But there's absolutely zero sign, that this Republican surge that started around 10 years ago is going away. Matter of fact, it's going to get even greater. Again, with all due respect to my good friend Mike Pushkin, and who's State Democratic Party chair, he's got his work cut out for him, because I don't know, and I know it's early, and back in the old days, you didn't even have people announcing they were running for offices until at least Labor Day, which is coming up. But I don't know how they're going to fill the ballot. I really, really don't. I want them to, because I think that the more people that we have out there, the better, because it gives people choices. But I don't even know how they're going to fill the ballot. I really don't. That's how far it's come in West Virginia for the Republicans. 580 Live is presented in part by Meeks Realty Group. Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. Visit them online, meeks.us, or call 304-440-1101. The cleanup continues. We'll close with this from the flooding in Eastern Kanawha County. Kerry Hudasek with a great story posted at wvmetronews.com. As we talked about earlier, just total devastation in those areas. Our continued thoughts and prayers to those folks. Now, a lot of people are involved trying to help out. There's various, I don't have an entire list in front of me, but there are various groups, donations of cleaning supplies, whatnot, are being taken in at several places, including the town hall in Bell and Chesapeake, and a Greens Feed and Seed. And those folks, I think, are distributing them to other folks from there. A little plug for our sister station, 987 The Mountain. We're going to be broadcasting live from Todd Judy Motors in Marmet. Steve Hannibal there today from between 11 and 1. And in addition to great deals on automobiles, he's also going to be collecting some cleaning supplies, too. So stop by and see Steve today from 11 to 1 at Todd Judy Motors in Marmet. As we close, text says, as long as Larry Pack supports Trump, my vote will go elsewhere, according to a texter. All right. Did not get to all the texts. I'll try to do better on the show tomorrow. And as I said, tomorrow's show is absolutely loaded up, folks. Dave Wilson is in for Hoppy Kercheval on Talkline as Hoppy continues his time off. Hoppy will return next week, but Dave Wilson is in the host chair today. Follow the news of the day, WVMetroNews.com, WCHSNetwork.com. See you tomorrow. Till next time, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.